If you're doing any of these following things to lose fat: hours of cardio, skipping meals, or cutting out all carbs out of your diet, you're not just wasting time, you're making things so much harder than it needs to be. I'm going to show you 3 ways in which you can lose body fat and do it the right way without using any crash diets and removing all the guesswork. Let's make this the last time you have to start all over again. I've helped hundreds of busy professionals and now parents who are just like you to lose fat, keep it off without sacrificing their career and their family life. The 3 methods that I'm about to show you now work for anyone, even if you're busy and you don't want to spend a lot of hours in the gym. So tip number 1, focus on nutrition habits and macros and not just calories. We've all heard by now about calories in versus calories out. And yes, being in a calorie deficit does matter. But if you're constantly hungry or you're trying to operate like a robot, you're not going to sustain it forever. And you're also not going to be able to train how you actually want to. Instead, what you're going to do is build 3 high protein meals that you're going to alternate, especially when you're out the house and when you're busy and in work. It's going to allow you to stay fuller for longer. You're going to have 80% of your diet consistent of good single ingredient foods that are going to fuel your performance. And also you're going to have more calories for the back end of the day to use around the table with your family. And also at the times when you're at home and you're relaxing is the times that you're probably going to be a lot more food focused. So you're saving a lot more calories for that time of the day as opposed to when you're in work and you're not going to be as food focused. What you want to think about here, and the reason I mentioned habits, is you want to think of the long-term goal. So if it's going to take you 6 months to get to your goal and you're just trying to live off a diet that's unsustainable, you're not going to be able to stay in the game long enough for you to get to your goal. So it's important that those 3 meals that you pick to have outside of the house are meals that you can enjoy. Tip number 2 is all about your training. Obviously adding in nutrition with that as well. The goal here is to train to keep muscle or build muscle and not just to burn calories. Losing weight doesn't mean that you have to also lose muscle. Yes, your body is going to be in a phase where it's used to breaking things down. That's how you get rid of the body fat. But what we're trying to do here is train with enough intensity and with enough precision that it gives your body a chance to not just only maintain the muscle that you've got, but actually to grow new muscle. So getting lean doesn't mean getting smaller, but you have to be smart with the way that you train. Now, how you structure your training will depend on your goal. So for example, if your goal is to do something that is a running based event and you have 5 days a week that you want to train, I would dedicate 3 or 4 of them days to your running or things that will go and help with your running, with 1 or 2 days where you focus on hypertrophy or performance-based exercises that are going to help with that, and vice versa. If your goal is to build more muscle, then you want to limit the amount of cardio that you're doing. But either way, whatever you're doing, don't just focus on the number that it says on these smartwatches. The goal isn't just to burn calories. The goal is to build muscle or increase your endurance. Building muscle is your fat burning engine. Cardio is just a tool for you to get there. Don't think of it as your main weapon. Don't think of the amount of calories you burn as your main weapon. Think of actually progressively overloading either in your lifts and in your runs as your main reason or your main tool that you track progression. And lastly, recovery. And without this, the other 2 things fall apart if you don't get this right. So what you want to make sure with your recovery is that you slightly increase your fats and slightly decrease your carbs. This is because your expenditure across rest days are probably going to be a lot lower than what it'd be on a normal training day. So you don't need the fuel from your carbs, but what you do need on rest days is more fats. And you're going to increase fats for 2 reasons. Number 1, fats has the highest calories per gram than any other macro. So for every gram of fat, you have 9 calories, as opposed to proteins and carbs that only have 4 grams. So this is going to take obviously longer for the foods to digest, which means it's going to keep you fuller for longer and stop you from potentially eating more when you're moving less. But it's also going to help you to recover. It's going to help you with your hormone balance. It's going to help you with anti-inflammation. So make sure in your rest days that you include higher fat in there. The last thing, and something that's a little bit of a bonus as well, is I would make sure that you do something that includes your family, or something that you enjoy doing, or something that you find a little bit fun that you can switch off with. If you're constantly on the go and constantly on that rabbit wheel of chasing progress and progress and progress, you're going to burn out, not just physically but mentally. Yes, you could be having physical rest days, but if you're also not having mental rest days, you'll find that yes, your body recovers, but mentally you're not as locked in as you would be if you spent a bit more time outside of training, counting calories and that kind of thing. It then just makes you lock back in when you're back into training mode and be a more efficient athlete. Now, if you want the full breakdown of how you can map out your training and what your training week looks like, if you want to know how to map out your nutrition and what that looks like and how you can adjust it as your body weight drops, and a full recovery protocol, then just follow my Instagram and DM me the word framework and I'll get everything sent over to you.